Futures shopping around here this morning in the pre-market. We're back to basically flat on the morning with the NASDAQ and the S&P 500. Coming on the back, huge week last week where we had basically all of tech report. We had the Fed, of course, all going into this week, more earnings front to deal with. Palantir coming up tonight. We get AMD. Still lots of decent names to come on the earnings side of things, but more Middle East also of uncertainty once again. Oil moving around, yields moving around once again this morning, and U.S. dollar. So a range of topics to discuss this morning, including GME's buying eBay. What? Who knew? That kind of comes there. So yeah, both eBay and GME all over the place. I mean, specifically a little more volatile, back to the downside. In fact, red on the more big pop early.
I know. This is super interesting. Well, he's been trying to save up a lot of money, Ryan Cohen and company. There, what do they got? Got $9.4 billion in cash, Brendo. So war chest. We'll see if he can finesse his way into an acquisition. I saw this Friday night. I did was message Joe. I'm like, breaking out. We got to look at GME, and then it basically failed. Continuation there, but there's a lot to talk about, as you mentioned. Oil back, obviously, with President Trump basically saying, look, we're going to try to escort some of these neutral ships that have been stuck there a couple of months. Basically, the Iranians a heads up so they don't shoot at them.
Right.
That was kind of my take there. And the headlines, obviously, NCLH reported they're down big, high single digits over here. And just headline, Amazon trying to finagle its way more into logistics. FedEx, UPS, all down because of that.
I was talking to a friend of mine, enterprise sales for AWS in Toronto, specifically. He's a local rep for everything, and talking to him about that on the weekend. Right. Really interesting take. We'll talk about it a little bit, get into Amazon a little bit deeper, but he's also really excited about the chip side of things, and said for them specifically, for the guys that work in AWS, like a huge change, but positive. Had his entire team replaced, so they had basically 20 plus guys let go, and then he was put into another bigger group, so south of the border. But to your point, your earlier point, anyways, here's USO. That was the initial move. This pop higher. We're right back down, essentially where we started this morning for. Oil point, as I said, very lots to come. Typical for the week after the pick, there's going to be a Fed speaker speaking at some day. There's a long list today and every day this week. Yeah, Kashkari already chiming in, basically saying we should be looking at the other of the spectrum here. Like rate cuts is not the near at the moment. It's rate hikes, especially with this month going into the second war. And then if you just start these ships take about 6 to 8 weeks to come from the strait to head to their destinations. They're pretty slow. The actual oil supply, forget about the price, the actual product of oil, you're not likely to see it for another year, possibly after the war is over. I was watching a Bloomberg report on the weekend on just on YouTube, but they were saying 6 weeks and Europe could have significant jet fuel short. In as
Germany,
as little,
These whole planes they're running out of energy. Or nat gas is an issue because they don't take as much from the Russians. Who knew coal was making a move back? I was looking at the chart on coal, this per ton or something like that, and it's at I think 6 months, 8 months high. Yeah, high. So lots to understand, lots to discuss this morning as we get going into a brand new week, including, guys, more to come as well, including Palantir after the close. Happy Monday.
And may the 4th be with you, you could say. Well, but you're right. Palantir after the bell. That should be one we'll be sticking around for that one. Should be right after the bell. But you gotta look, this GME eBay thing. Like, what's crazy about it is Ryan's got a clause in his new pay package where there's a goal of 100 billion market cap, and aggressive trying to pick up someone that's bigger than you to grow the company. It's, I don't know. We'll see if that ends up being something that was really just self-driven, or if there's some kind of a real turnaround. Because it's half stock, Like it's half GME stock. TD's already come in with some debt here. I'm thinking eBay is a potential fade. I think it high. I'm gonna look for a spot on that one to maybe play into the short. And we saw this a lot of GME run, and like there was anticipation going into this that there would be some kind of an announcement, but they got $9 billion in cash. It's going to require a lot of it, plus debt, plus stock, to get this sucker. But who knows? We'll see how it goes. I mean, obviously, right now, had a 10% from bottom to top move just in the pre-market here, and it that on Friday. So you know this is going to be in play. eBay is going to be in play, but don't forget about last week's earnings names. Roblox a bit on here, Rivian, of course. Those were both some big-time movers. And 80,000 over the weekend. Didn't hold it, but it hit 80,000 at least. Much better than the Raptors did. But you know what? We got to Game 7.
Yeah, Raptors.
Losing in Game 7 is how we...
have Ingram. We didn't have any of those guys. There he is. Very quickly. We had $90 million. NBA is nuts. But yeah, here we go. Palantir today, up another 2.5. We'll see. Continue to go. It's my number one trade today. If we can get it for Palantir into one for the closing prices there from Friday. And then we did have Google actually. I don't know, getting a little bit of an upgrade, as Neil mentioned there. You know, yesterday's winners until last week can be today's trade. So we'll see if Google wants to break 386 and change, which it's doing right now. Just from the U.S. government, I just saw across the border there, across the line. U.S. got interested in these TPUs. If Google can continue to climb, wow, what a move there. And then I was just brought up this DRAM ETF. I was like, oh, are we still going in all of these? Like SNDK, just up another 3.5% there. As I was a very busy weekend again, the voices lost. Lots of baseball, lots of hockey, lots of everything this week. So we're exhausted here on a Monday morning when you're supposed to be refreshed. Tesla 400, you know, they had a run at this on Friday as well, down day. With the NASDAQ pretty flat. Tesla can hold out right here as well, 391 coming through for TSLA. So, yeah, you mentioned Rivian, that just hovering around that $15 mark. I actually didn't, yeah, my radar, but hey, man, this is not a bad play either. Low there of last week into 15, so, you know, probably break that here today, and we'll see if there's a good little area here for RIVN. Rivian. Bad play here as well today. So yeah, as you mentioned there, IBIT should be good, Ethereum, and then you didn't even realize eBay was $100 stock. Like, put it on the way in this morning, I was like, oh, I thought eBay was like 50 or 60 bucks. Like, you know, whatever. She's been pretty good. Like, I don't know if anybody's actually even used eBay, but maybe we could ask that in the chat yeah, eBay used to be pretty hot back in the day, I remember, before sort of, and it was just kind of taking off. Everybody was there on eBay looking for things, buy, selling things, and people spun off there as well. So eBay, like, as Neil said, you know, we sort of thought something was brewing last with GameStop, and now UD's in, and, you know, when Wall Street gets, you know, here's some sort of grumblings there. They wonder, we did have a couple nice days there, kicking off with today. Relatively muted move, but down to I would say that this deal probably is something, because normally when there isn't a quiet, it goes down. So people are probably thinking that maybe there is something here. Apparently TD Bank is billion. So if they can do that, plus you said the stock, give a little bit of the cash, they have $9 billion to dilute their shareholders. So I think it's close.
The question is whether eBay is at all, because it's unsolicited, and they're like, well, eBay could always be like, well, we do as a viable, because we're bigger than you. Why are you acquiring? Like, you never know how it's gonna go with the board in that particular case, but.
They have to believe in GameStop, because they're going to get stock.
And they have to believe in Ryan Cohen. If he has a turnaround plan, he says he's in the combined business, so they'd have to believe that turnaround plan. He is the leader. So there's a lot to happen for it, and I think if you work it out to like the close price on Friday makes it like 125. Half the deals in stock are going to move around 10%, and eBay is going to move today as well. Don't forget Intel, $100. That'll be a bit of a thing. I suspect. It's already tried twice today to get broke. Actually, no, broke more than yesterday on Friday because it broke late in the day. Well, it broke a few times without actually being able to close and hold that level. So that's another big level to watch here. One of the things that I feel like we didn't do as often last week was make sure that to the visualizer for some of the names. I want to point out, obviously, GameStop is going to be number list. There's some small capper, CNSP. But I want to make sure you got the symbols in there. So when you're typing in the chat, if you include a stock symbol, remember $, and then whatever. Go $, eBay, just to show you guys. Someone already typed GameStop just now, and then eBay is going to come on in there at some point. I think it would. And there you go, GameStop #1. And SanDisk is going to be 1,200, which is completely insane. Wrecker, NVIDIA, Apple, Q. That's an interesting one. So make sure, everyone, that you're participating. And if you got a symbol that's interesting, could be a small capper, who knows, could be a large capper, just throw it in there, and then we'll know what you guys are interested in. And that's what it's all about here, making sure that we're to the market. Some SOUN Soundhound was that was
a great call.
That was a big mover on Thursday and Friday, at least Friday for sure. I don't remember moved on Thursday as well. Midst of a breakout off of the lows of Soundhound, so that'll be interesting. Friday that it made that huge break.
Yeah, it broke out there. Someone was talking about. I think.
Super chat.
Oh, sorry, rising business. There's a lot of about this, but I do see that this does get a lot of social media about this one because ZETA. I mean, I see people on Twitter pumping this one out, but yeah, this could be interesting. I don't know why people love it so much, but it's above the trade. They did have a good earnings to break out. ZETA, I believe it's an advertising platform. I look into that one. I always thought that GameStop and eBay actually, they could fit together because I remember like when we were going to that sneaker con and everything like that. And eBay big into the verification cards, and shoes, all that kind of stuff, and collectibles. Mentioning that they were going to try to get into that whole grading system and auctioning and all that moves there. With Pokemon's been super hot. I don't need to tell anybody that. And sort of the collectible space right now is really, really hot, actually. It's died down since COVID. I think that would be something to talk about for GameStop and eBay. I think that there is a synergy there. That's for those words that when we were in high school, like everybody was in universe, like the one that everybody talked about. What are the synergies within the businesses? But I think you can have some for sure. So, but yeah, okay, all good, man. We're really good here. Got some few new members going around here. We want to say hi to them. We've got Joe's going to be here, ready to go with his options and grades and downgrades. May the 4th be around at some point. We'll have to see if he makes an appearance here. As this is a very special day for him, Obi-Wan. Yeah, we've got Rami and everybody. We've got Andre here, so it's a good one. Adara's ready to rock and roll. It's Monday. The whole team.
I've seen Randy yet, though.
He's not here. His car is not
okay.
here. So. Yeah, here. So we're missing one.
Busy week last week.
And it's 20 degrees today. What is it already here today? 10 degrees. I got Dane already messaging me about to get Chris Olave. Everybody wants him. I got yesterday from 3 different
Olave
going on. Yeah, I don't know. A lot of people are offering me some RBs. See, I don't have any running backs, so I have Devin A-Chain. That's it. And, Zane's trying to go Bucky Irving a little. No. But I know he has Gainwell there. But yeah, I have a plethora. I mean, those are easy.
You don't want Bucky Irving.
Yeah, I mean that's nice. So. And then I'm trying to get. I would like to get Judkins, but he's. I mean, they're both Olave's alone as well.
Fantasy football is like the stock market, man. It is bell high. That's what it's. That's what you're. Really, that's what you're.
Well, that's what you do. After like 1 or 2, we always go to the third week in the season, and some guy puts up like 100. Next thing you know, you get like all pro. you get like first round picks and everything. And then 3 weeks later, the guy's or whatever.
I'm a dirty dog. Like, there's this one dude, I promise you, after somewhere between week 2 and week 3,
there's always
I did my roster. I'm like, okay, well, just had the most ridiculous first 2 weeks that even if I
can't carry it for.
But I had a bill, but like a guy that I completely won't carry for. And then I look and I go, I don't even care what I'm getting him. I'm just going to trade this guy to him for whatever I can get. Whether I'm getting, I don't care. I just know he's going to buy at the high, and then I'm good to go. It's just, and it's like you just keep going back to the well over and over. That's what
it's like. Not every fantasy player's SanDisk. You know, you can buy and just keeps on going higher and higher and higher. You know, report this week, the biggest I think of the week is going to be advanced micro devices. Like, I can't even believe there's a 3 in front of this. This name was $50, $60, $80. Like, it was just so low for so long. Like, you don't even have to go back that, man. You go back to last May. This was $97, man, and that was after an epic run from 77. Like, you know, so crazy. Like, this is the tariff tantrum that we were all like, oh my God. Like, I remember, and it was the beginning of baseball season. I remember talking with this guy that manages money for TD, and he was saying to me, like, so many of his clients, you know, backed out of the market, nervous and so pissed off about tariffs and, you know, like now starting to make his moves and what did this mean for the market and everything like that. And he liquidated, let's just say, hedging, I don't know, $10 million or something. He's just a little family guy. And, you know, 6 or 7 million of that money kind of didn't liquidate, but, you know, got lighter. And it's just like, you know, now you can say like, oh shoot, like, did I, you know, pull the chute down here? Like, literally a year later, I just wish you had that, like, all of us, I'm sure, like, you know, you wish you would have pushed a little harder, but that's these kind of dips to happen. And right now, if you want to talk about, I mean, if you just look up the definition of parable, like, this name has gone from April 1st of $200 to $360. You know, that's 23 trading days or something like that. You've almost doubled a name where the story has been obviously extended, but like these are not new IPOs that we didn't know about. Like this guy Sharif, like Sharif was wearing jackets for the longest time, you know, for Jensen. We kept on talking about Lisa Su and dozens, and you know, one's gonna lead to the other. Very short. There goes AMD with a report on May the 5th. Tomorrow, is it tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow after hours. So, you know, where's this name going to think higher, honestly? So, I don't, when Moon, how about...
Moon's already.
How about landed past Moon? So
MARS.
I'm not the, you know, the astrologist around here. Probably.
Well, we're going to the moon.
You know more about that.
And then we're going to Mars. MARS.
And we're going somewhere, someone that's already been to Mars. We're going to Joe now, man. It's the calls. Let's go figure out what's going on with the options impact of the day. Go.
Good morning and happy Monday. Let's take a look at some of the options at Friday session. We're going to kick things off with Kia, guys. At this $12 mark here, we're sitting around 79,000 contracts at that $12 strike price. But at the volume, we had 2,710 open and close on Friday session. That is going to be expiring 15, so a couple of weeks here, guys. But relatively high here. You're sitting at that $80 metric, and then we have a substantial, we don't often talk about it because there's always 0.0, but what we're sitting at right now, that's relatively high speaking, especially in Nokia. But our at the money IV uptick there as well too, guys, 72.3%. Yeah, we have a couple of weeks until this expires. Moving forward, let's take a look at the actual contract itself and see how much since last week, literally a week ago today. 1,500%, going from roughly $13 to north of $2 in this specific contract. Watch us continue to climb here, guys. We have MSTR, Mr. Guys, we're going to be looking at this dollar mark. Been on a pretty good run, 50% off of those lows. But let's take a look at the around 30 or 19,800 contracts there with 2,280 on Friday's session. Now, this is going to be expiring on May 8th, and you can see the wide. We're sitting at a $40 spread there, guys, but also considering we're looking at an delta elevated and gamma exposure. If we're looking at the Greeks, it's nothing compared to what we've just seen. Kia, mind you, it is more expensive, right? Significantly $100 compared to the $12 strike price, but nonetheless, you're still seeing some gamma exposure here, and the IB sitting around 73.3%. Been a good appreciation within the value of these contracts, well, too, guys. Going from under $2 to north of dollars, closer to $20. Now, some more mentions here. We're going to take a look at chip names on Friday session. We're going to kick things off with NBA at that 200, a little bit below that here. Open interest 6,500 with volume around 107,000 contracts opening. Okay. Now, as for our open, we typically, we're still a bit away from the earnings report. Watch for that to continue to grow leading into that. That's going to be expiring on May 8th, guys. But at some point leading into that report, we're going to see that open really start to uptick. AMD on the list as well, too. We're going to be looking at that $350 marker with a contracts open there and volume at 2,280. Looking at IBIT, 43.5 open interest sitting at 10,600, and then volume relatively light on that contract. 900 contracts open and closed on Friday session at that specific strike price on that specific expiration cycle. Let's send it back to Neil.
It's going to be on the mind. That MSTR, ooh, scary. I know we got some viewers that like that to the south side. Usually, eventually, that works out for you, but Bitcoin on some strength.
Oh yeah, JKL like that one short.
Well, we'll see. I mean, like that's the thing with like trading are two very different things, and you can swing short, and the day trade can look pretty long in the short run there. But I wanted to throw up on the Dixie because I guess I was looking at Dixie at some point. U.S. dollar. Let's go with on the 1 hour. It's been a pretty decent the upside here. I don't really even need that, but the get at 80, I think might take some time here for Bitcoin. Look back instead, like once, twice, even pull back to 70. And I think it'll be like a slow and orderly move before we back through that, which leads me to usually look in dip buy. So look at the consolidation on Friday. Held some prior resistance, which was 44.3 into 44.5 and 6, and consolidated that level. I'm looking for that again today, like dip and rip. And if we lose 44, then I'm willing to be look for the reverse. And then that's when I start looking at things like BMNR, maybe an MSTR for the south side. But yeah, look on IBIT. The only difference is Friday, I was bullish on Bitcoin and, well, bullish on one of those, but not sold on the other. SL way back, gave up everything that was made on that move on the breakout on Friday. And maybe it cast some of it back there, but dollar that was able to maybe stem some of the tide. But I'm going to be focused more on much SLV. Both were good longs on Friday. Only one of them looks as good.
All right. You did. Adair just asked me very kindly about that ETA stock, and I was going to look that up and have a story for us when she kicked out. So those of you that were looking, we did have that stabilizer out, so I wanted to say that this is one, and thanks Adair, and it was like, let me get on to that one for you guys, and we'll figure that out. That's TSLL just showed up, but that's ZETA, so we'll have that. So. And get a quick look. Yeah, we have USO and some of these oil names around. I think that this week we should have he maybe on. We'll see if Canadian names there in the chat. We can definitely energy what's going on there. And who knows? We should have Michael Noss coming through from Stacked Edge. And we just had the hire for the Maple Leafs new GM. am a stats guy. I brought it up to the boys. It was like, oh, maybe Michael Noss knows this guy. Here we go. Okay. So still swinging short. I think you just got to get through this week. I mean, this is going to be another NASDAQ kind of week here again. Okay, and MicroStrategy, so we're a strategy, so we know that. Quick direction of things in Mideast, yeah. So if things turn, I mean, which way are they going to turn, though? I mean, I don't.
Well,
I feel like
you could turn it.
No, I know, but I feel like I was like, I don't like. If it was going to escalate, what do we need to see for that? Another all-out, like, what do they call it, midnight? Another big bomb drop or something? Like, I don't know if we're at that stage. I hope the turn, towards obviously ceasefire, and obviously that's what we all hope for. But I don't know, like U.S. I feel like the market's a little bit sort of pushing right now some of the Iran news. I don't know.
Trying to focus on earnings again.
Yeah, so
That's what the market's been trying to do. The good news is we've been able to withstand fresh highs almost every single day. Like we've been making highs, and the market's been able to do that fast. So I think you do want something to turn better, but as we will always do, we keep our ear to the ground around here. Like you could get any single headline, if something does pop off, you'll see that big move in USO, and then we get to gauge whether or not we think there's continuation. Matter, I guess, by the dips when you get these crazy, one-off wicks. Sometimes they matter. You'll get them spike, and sometimes it falls through. Other times, nothing, and then it just pulls right back. So we'll keep our ear to the ground like we always do around here. And why is Canadian AI stock Xanadu? I'll look that one.
Maybe because it has a crazy symbol. I don't know. What is Xanadu?
ZND. You all look for
Zed? What?
I saw this. Someone would posted it in, and I was usually. I don't see a news from them though. Like you're not.
I don't even know.
You're not down 65%.
That's
without
Canadian?
Being a story. They report for 2 weeks.
Okay.
They on the 14th. Yeah, I don't see a story for ZU. I'm sure there is. There's got to be. You're not down 65% with nothing. I'm sure we'll be able to find it at some point. Pretty bad if you just randomly drop 60%, or maybe somebody. We'll see. But again, that's what we hear to the ground. You're in the right spot. Desk. We've got the men in white, and we'll soon be joined by a man that I'm pretty sure will be in plaid.
Monday? I don't know. He's a plaid Monday kind of guy or not, but we'll see. It's usually Friday, I think. That is his Canadian tuxedo day. We'll see. Michael Noss is coming up. They mentioned Raheem as well. We're in Washington.
Oh.
A couple of us from Washington.
What's out there?
He's there for a big political event, or even what he's doing, but we'll ask him.
He's a jet set.
It's you never know. He's a man of mystery. And then he's going to New York after that. So he's going to join us. Potentially, we're working on it, but potentially from the NASDAQ this week as well. You mentioned this one to start things off this morning. Here is NCLA out. Working right now at this 1750 level. This goes all the way back to December. Was the last time we touched this back in April, and then here we are again to the bottom end of the range on the back of this earnings report that came out, which is kind of a surprise. The other ones have been doing okay, especially on the demand side of things and the forecasting forward, but not so much here.
Yeah, bit of a tough look here, Brendo. A decent retention, 9.4% Inc. revenue. Was down a little bit here, down 0.3, blaming it essentially on pricing pressure to EPS. That was a big beat. So they're really able to shore up cost. Pennies the street wanted. EBITDA also increasing 18% year over year. The negatives here is the full year guide. They're saying due to softer bookings and macro disruption, Middle East geopolitical, higher fuel costs, weaker European demand among some of the reasons being cited.
A bit here this morning, but definite level to watch. The other thing I wanted, Michael, so we'll get to him, but the other thing I wanted to show real quick is Yields, I mentioned off the top here, yields popping a little bit. There's a 10-year. We're coming back in right now, but we got as far as 4.5. 30-year, same story. Actually got above 5.1 for the 30-year. First, it's going back to March, back above 5%. Moving higher. I mean, we're coming back now, but moving higher for the most part. The dollar as well, back higher again this morning, negative on the week last week. So that terribly friendly to stocks, but let's see how we, right now, currently, shorter time frame, we are coming back in for all three of those, which should help things out. But as mentioned, it is plaid. It's my plaid day. It's the formal plaid today, Mike. Nice. Michael Nosh joining us on a Monday, a little bit about where the market is overall. And I mean, I'm sure most have heard this term. From a technical standpoint, a shooting star, positive. So what gives here, Ross? I thought we were just going up and up and up.
Well, that's the conventional wisdom. So first of all, I got to change my outfit, I guess. I got to get a new wardrobe. Was that easy to
just own it, man?
Yeah, the shooting star. Everyone's talking about the shooting star. So I thought, like I would do, and like we do, on it. So let's see if it's actually bearish. Yeah, first here is just the chart. Again, I couldn't go anywhere on Twitter. Go back one perfectly. So I couldn't go back. I couldn't go on Twitter. I couldn't go, a shooting star. That's definitely a huge line. Take your profits now. Run. It's bad. And, that's what the textbooks say, right? That's, you go to technical analysis school, and you don't know, shooting star is essentially just a gap up, that kind of topping tail. And if you look in the books at all, it's incredibly bearish. We should kind of come back down that range, which again still might happen, but if you take a look at the numbers, it doesn't look that bearish. So the next couple charts I have here are just equity curve. What I asked my system simply, okay, on the SPY, what happens if you a shooting star for X number of days? So this first one's 5 days, so rough week. So what if you shorted this morning, held it for a week? How often would you be right? The market would actually have pushed down. And how often would you be wrong? And turns out you'd only be right 34% of the time. Wrong, you're really wrong, right? You don't need to be a quant to know that you generally want these the other way. You want them to go up slowly instead of down slowly. And so, okay, maybe it's not a short-term bear signal. More intermediate is 2 weeks, so 10 days. Right 40% of the time now that it could be a topping tail, but when you're wrong, you really wrong. So you lose about 54% of your money. If every time there was a shooting star, you shorted the SPY, you got half of your money, while you can see the asset performance at that time. So not a great strategy. Next one here is 20 days, or if you hold for entire month, now you're right less than 30% of the time, 85% of all of your money. So I'm not convinced this is the bear that everyone is looking for it to be based off the numbers. It's one of the beauties of kind of tech and also statistically minded and quantitative is that time I see kind of a bull, I can just go in and test it. And these kind of tests with backtesting software take minutes and take me a long period of time to put this together to show you really don't want to be shorting against this. And so the next chart I just quite at all-time highs, but this was the 2025 shooting. That is, I remember I couldn't find exact presentation. I remember maybe doing kind of the same thing, looking at the same thing. And you can see what happened there. It down right off the bat, but it did cause a little bit of a pause. And that's what we're seeing here, where maybe it's going to cause a little bit of a pause, maybe or get some short in before moving higher. I don't know. Just because you're wrong 30% of the time or 70% still means you're right 30% of the time. So there is that. This is some sort of at least short signal. Last chart, a little bit unrelated, but that I'm also bullish. And this is the S&P 500 or the ES futures contract and the commitment of traders data. This is what I talk about all the time for whether people are long, whether you can look to see on mass on kind of futures what the positioning of large institutional are. and they're still, they shorted a little bit. You can see that dip down in the red indicator down below. They shorted May, and they haven't really covered. And if you shorten, or sorry, shorted in mid-April, you're not incredibly right. The fact that these guys aren't covering, and we took this signal, those are two things that I kind of put together and say, okay, I don't necessarily want to give much credence, but the last kind of point here is that with most candlestick patterns, the confirmation candle that I think is the most important. So right now, both flat. But if we do a pretty bad reversal today, then I need to look at it and say, okay, what happened for a shooting star when there's follow through the next day? It might change just a little bit.
All right, so let's just go back here a second, because you threw out a that caught my attention, and that was less than 30% of the time. Hold on, I'll just go back on your charts here. Less than 30% of the time on a higher time, so longer look, if you shorted today, less than 30% of the time going out 3 weeks, you'd be wrong.
You'd be correct.
Right.
So you're only right 30% of the time. You're wrong 70% of the time.
So to me,
when
if
you're wrong,
yeah, to me, more than 70% chance at trade in the other. Maybe we're just buying today.
Well, that's the first thing I did is the question and said, what happens if you buy? And the equity curve just flips, entirely. Now, this is no stop, there's no profit targets, nothing fancy, just what happens days later. But yeah, there's roughly 70% of the time after this kind of topping tail, which is, think of it like a trader. If I had ordered this thing, where would I put my stop? It would probably be high of that topping candle. So if we start to get this reversal higher, if that's where my stop is going, it's somewhere over that shooting star high. So I don't know if that's the phenomenon that causes it, that a lot of people may be short right now and they put their stop up there and then you hit that price, we end up reversing higher. But funny that this is the best part, I think, about being kind of a tech/quantitative kind of, and everything we do over at Stats Edge is quantitative, is because you can take something that's kind of the conventional norm and test it. Often it's kind of noise one way or another, but if it is such a bad signal that just like sometimes the complete is an amazing signal, and that some kind of makes me dig in and start to build different strategies and algorithms around, because if everything, I want to be the guy doing the other thing.
I mean, if you get 80% shot most of the time on that, that's a great ratio. The other thing too I wanted to throw out at this is how much of this revolved around. I mean, we're coming back of a time when we're past most now on the earnings side. There are some more on the semiconductor side of things coming this week, but it's getting to that point where the amount that could have brought this market down, including on a macro front from happening over in the Middle East. I mean, given the situation of global affairs, given the situation of where the market is, situation of where earnings season is currently, looks pretty good.
Yeah, and this reason I brought that last chart positioning is now is wrong. And in 2025, it feels like we're just song that we did in 2025, where early in the year, around April, fun enough, we had this big shock event that brought everything down. Everybody in the world seemed to short into that based off the commitment of trader data. I remember kind of last year, all wrong. And I think it's more their being wrong that is fueling the move higher, really anything else. If we have a little bit of news and you were short for about, and the market's been moving up for a month, any kind of news, any downtick, you're going to use that probably as an opportunity to cover your short position. And then any kind of, you may have to be forced to cover your position. So it seems like we're in an area in that which, until we unwind this, that we have to potentially drift higher. And, that chart that we word is zero line on whether people are long or short, that's when the market's for that kind of 2 week chopped around. Then they shorted into that consolidation. Makes me start when it got really, really close to the top there, which is flat. Then we started to see that kind of sideways consolidation and that chop, and then they shorted into that. So if we out from here, they're wrong again. It's great for us that they're wrong. It's just not too good for them.
Yeah, let's see how it plays out here. It seems to be, a reason to sell, and they're just continues to be one. So at this point, it's just play along instead. I don't know. It just seems the easiest thing to do.
Trend trading is not, it's not fun because you're the high and you don't want to be the guy who buys the high and something bad happens, but it works.
Michael Moss, best of luck this week. We'll trace on Friday.
Talk to you Friday. Have a great one.
Fantastic. Always by Michael. All right, guys, let's take a look at some of the analyst actions here. There's heavy hitters on the downgrade side, surprisingly so. We have AMD at the top of the list, guys, going by to a $40 price target at HSBC. A little bit more than 3. Now, Google also on downgrade, going from a buy to a hold, but increasing its price target from $365 to $400. And then we have Alexandria Real Estate, 1% here, guys, going from to neutral, but reducing its price target from $67 to $40 at Baird. And then we also have Checkpoint, guys, going from a buy to a neutral weight. Decrease the target here from 260 to 120 of A. Moving more positive things, Airbnb getting the nod here. This from a perform to outperform 1.6% here today with a price target of $80 at Oppenheimer. The trade desk up 1.5%, going from an underperform to a new at Wedbush. And then Amazon also got a buy with a $320. TD getting the, we're down about a third of a percent, going from sector perform to outperform here with a price target of 150 Canadian. Let's send it back to Neil and Sean.
In the downgrade alpha, huh?
That's balls, I tell you, the balls. But that, I mean,
Upgrade and
maybe story. Where you've hit that candle and you have it up on your screen now. Maybe there's a turnaround on the daily, right? We talked about the little doji star situation there as the 100 also potentially turning around off of a big candle like that, but sort of squeeze it out of 70 to 80% chance that it continues to go higher, although we can always look the other way around, but what's going to stop Google? I mean, you could go back to last 40 last April, 380 today.
why are we down things?
Are we?
Look, maybe, I don't know. Look, analysts can do whatever they want. The trend has been your friend when it comes to it. I suppose the interesting thing, did the trade desk, that get interest analyst upgrade? Because it's found at least a temporary bottom, right? Like it's double bottomed here at 20. Might get up the sector up tonight. You could do what desk is holding the 50 average. It's for the first time in, I don't know, like forever. What's this, like October? Yeah, late October was the last time over the 50 period moving average. It's actually got higher highs and high lows over the last 2 weeks. That's also good. I'm just chuckling because it hasn't been doing that. This could be on the radar. I think this will be an interesting semi-sympathy going after Palantir tonight, but I don't know if I'd be betting against. I just don't. I feel like that's the right way to go. Is that it can play some catch-up? For sure. It might mean a slowdown in some of the more parabolic and that have brought the market in. But if I look and just say, okay, well, Meta, Alphabet, Amazon, and Apple, and then ask anybody who had the strongest and most impressive quarter, the answer across the board is going to be Alphabet. And they're already, so you've got momentum, then you've got fundamentals, you got everything going for them to continue. What it is.
Yeah, I have go here. I have AMD. I understand that, but I have it as a long on then into 355. The 10 a.m. You can go. I put the link sticky note in there a little bit today. Come down 1 minute chart. Oh, my screen there. Oh, there. Yeah, so there it is right into here, this AM or so, little job that happened up to 361, also down here. So we'll see it's under view up. I mean, I'm not bullish right now. I mean, as this opening up, we'll have to wait to see where it winds up going. Right into these levels right there, 5. We'll see if we can hold. But look how choppy that was, despite, closing at new all-time highs. Pretty ugly until, again, like at 10:30, a lot of these names went on Friday. We'll see if something winds up back into there for AMD, but I think it needs to be on the radar. You can insert. See, this is the thing, see, when I push it up through this screen, it won't go higher. I don't know, I got to sort of go around and get back up there. So I got to, if I talk to Sparky about this might take a while, so we're not got. But there it goes right there. That's like that stock. And then, what are they? Marvell, Broadcom, AMD, NVIDIA, forget about SNDK, but Marvell's already up another 1.5%. This is looking like it wants to take out all-time highs. Guess Micron's up 2%? I don't know. I haven't just have a look here. Oh, there it is, 2.5%. So, you're throwing darts at these names, and it's not really wrong. They continue to tick higher, right? And so don't really want these stars here because that one might have worked in some of the topping tail candles. But wait to see if this one is that exactly today as well. You're on an here. We'll see if it can come back. As Sharif always says, I always hear him say, Island Boys. I don't know anything about these Island
Boys.
I don't know, but I hear it on the midday show sometimes. So we may hear Joe and Sharif, the Island Boys of Trader TV Live. Am I allowed to say that? No. Okay, no.
No.
Okay, that is not good. Okay, so that is not what it is. But anyways, we'll see if some of these stocks are stuck on island here today as well. I'm going to have to look now. So no, I do not. Okay, Joe said,
No.
Do not. I guess I don't need that algorithm to spike again here. So
a few people in the chat that have been saying some issues about the audio sounds.
Test.
Just refresh.
Hopefully it's just my audio.
I was listening and it was absolutely hit the refresh if you can. You changed this very quickly there.
I just always they always mention them. And then we saw these stocks on an island, so maybe it's one of that. But
those stocks, special island, that's for sure. There's just so much momentum in them.
Yeah.
The thing that scares me is whenever you get it feels when we get like a hype ETF, like if a new ETF comes in or new ETF come in after things have gone parabolic, that's typically been like a temporary top, and it usually doesn't work out that well if you bought it. And we saw that with the meme one. Maybe we'll see. Maybe it happens. I have no idea, but it's certain as signal of top or temporary top. We got to watch out for that a little bit.
If there is ever problems with audio, sometimes if you just if you're watching an ADP, you can go down to 720 or something. That'll help depending on what's going on in your traffic. Starlink was only neighborhood, so I was like, but the thing is that it only gets 500 gigabytes or something, and we have
good connection.
Yeah, we have 1.5 terabytes or whatever it is.
Boonies, man. It's apparent.
No, I mean that's the thing. It's providing internet for everybody. Amazing. So get rocking soon as well today. So I think that'd be a good name to look at off of the lows. If we can make for Tesla's been doing that a lot. Oh no, the audio's going. It comes over here. Thank you, Andre. If you guys this guy's growing out his hair. It looks fantastic. Right there, this guy looks like a freaking over there. So shout out to Andre.
Antonio.
Yeah, that's what he
like a young,
yes.
Like from
well, not an old one.
What's the movie? What's the
Dust Till Dawn.
the first Desperado?
Desperado.
Right?
Oh, he looks like Desperado.
Come on.
I think so. Or what was he? The Z. Was that Desperado?
That's the one. And then the guy that pays the dude with the knives. That's my fiend. This one guy goes into a gunfight and all the knives. And there's this limousine up and dudes have semi-autos. And he just rolls around throwing knives out. Must be kicking butt. I don't know. We'll see. Danny Trejo was in that. Pretty sure it's
that guy. That guy's been in every single gangster. We just
The same
he
character.
has that look. Like, okay, that is you are.
Work is work, man.
All right, from two innocent, two gangsters. Let's go back over.
Yeah, guys, unfortunately, a static issue. So we'll keep working on that. But yeah, Sean's slapping his microphone. That'll help. We'll hopefully find. Fabian had it last week, and I think he's correct. So through to our right here is the area for the thing, like a loading dock, essentially for the back of. And he was a delivery truck pulls up there with, like one of the two-way radios, essentially.
Really?
Frequencies might be close, at least, frequencies that are wireless mic on. I think he has the theory. Because it goes, it's not constant all the time.
Yeah,
the truck leaves.
There's got to be something.
It's like it's interference or something. Put up like some blocking thing. It never ends. A couple of the things to consider here. We were talking about it early on. I was just looking through some of the names this morning as well. Palantir highs at this point, but BTC back to the upside here this morning. No purchases last week.
I mean, unbelievable.
How dare they? BMNR on the Ethereum side to 4% of it now. They bought a ton. I forgot the exact number here, but they bought a ton again last week. Both of these, that's BMN, 3-4 days in a row, straight higher. This thing trying to bounce. Yeah, MicroStrategy, $1 million on a raise, but they didn't do any buying.
Yeah, it's interesting. And as we get higher to price, we touched 80,000 over the weekend. Breaching it, we were below, obviously, a key resistance level. But one would expect him, he did, he's probably going to buy on the way up. If his bull is that we reach all-time highs, 100, perhaps even breach it, maybe not by this year, by next, well, then to buy. So we'll have to keep an eye out on that. I'm looking for my own. I'm looking for a decisive take of that 80,000. Once it's been a very, very long consolidative area, 70 to 80. In fact, actually 5 to 80, you could say. So how the TA is here, but over the weekend surge with the U.S. response to de-escalate, some risk de-risking. We'll have to keep an eye.
I mean, the clear picture to me is still there's sitting around waiting and just looking for a reason to get a risk asset. We were talking about this with Michael Noss, but this is a little bit of an example that he brought. I mean, if you go to the actual big chart, it looks a little bit better as far as a tail or shooting star type of idea. Bitcoin chart did get above this high and then came back in. So but we are giving back some right away. According to him, that just means buy. I mean, better part of 8% on the equity side of things, better part of 80%. If you shorted that, shorted today for 3 weeks, you'd be wrong 8 times. So I signal.
Well, it's exactly it, right? And if I could just look at the daily right now for a second, because we've quite a bit on crypto. You can see these long consolidation. Let's just take, for example, 2025 that we had here with essentially about 50, 55 to support with about, that was before we had breached that previous all-time high back from COVID. We ranged for a while, from from March of 2024 away until about until we got the election boom, right? Once President confirmed as a winner, we saw exactly what happened with the equity markets as well as crypto. But it was in a long consolidation. The thing is, we get these consolidated phases on the way up and on the way down. Case in point, just look at this area over here. When we lost $100,000, we from middle of November in and around between 80 to about 1,000. We lost that quite aggressively in January. So a few months worth of range, very similar here. What I do like about this range is the higher low pattern. You didn't necessarily see that in the November to January range. You're seeing it now.
Is it however, at this point, I mean, I've seen, whether it or downside remains to be seen. But I mean, to your point, that this typical either way is in a hurry, and we're not moving in a hurry yet. So time will tell. 4.29% BMNR holding that 102,000, 100 ETH bought last week.
And I always say to Joseph, I even asked him off the air on Friday, I'm like, Bitcoin has a breakout over the weekend. The only reason I say it is a lot of the geopolitical stuff taken, and there's also very little in the way of liquidity. If there's a big buyer, it may not be a reciprocal seller to prevent them from a higher. When there have been outsized moves, a lot of them seem to take place on the weekend.
Let's see what happens, or if we get any kind of development catalyst, guys, over in the Middle East that will cause to be put back on.
Oil sliding down right now. It seems like it should be going. Maybe it's a bear flag. Yeah, I really argue it might be, but not we get to 80,000 today. It feels like that massive for resistance, breakout, support, turn into resistance. We're consolidating above that. We've been sort of climbing higher. So I just want to stay bullish until and if Friday was a pretty good day from start to finish. Know that I'm expecting like that kind of gap and go type of fry bit. You just sort of got in and then rode the way, maybe a couple eyes, and actually ended up on the lows. Support and just support. Resistance to support. 44.30, you lose 20s and you can get out of dodge. If we end up getting some reversal and we lose that big, it's a support level. I don't know how big it is. Then I would rather look at if that's the case for some kind of a trend break as well. So for which I'm not, I'd flip and move over to one of the treasury names. Just it's usually going to give you more bang for your buck in the other direction. The first instinct is on the dip of IBIT.
Yeah, I'm pretty good about the market here today. IBIT is going to lead it. I have bids on right around here. We can get filled. But look at oil right now. It's down $4. It's high. Give it $5. Down to 143 right now. It's down about 3.5% from its highs here, and it's just been sort of trending lower. So, although oil war and the Nasdaq, I mean, everything's been decoupled at this. We're now into the third month of this sort of dispute here with Iran, which was supposed to a couple of days. On to its 90th day. It's just it's tough to see oil make kind of a move and not get a little bullish, I think, on the market. I mean, I always wonder that when oil's been here a double, has been a double, that the Nasdaq wouldn't at all-time highs, but yet it is. So I think that if oil can come back in a little bit here, should once again spike up these markets, get the Dow and get some, big bell move back up to the upside as we start to worry less about USO and the impact of Iranian dispute and Middle East saga. Look for good news. And will bad news actually mark it down? I'm not. It's there, so I'm looking for good news. This game decided, which we've been talking about now, seems like for three sort of rhetoric. But hey, oil now starting to finally tick down a little bit. Maybe there's the short at 146 if we can VWAP again. So, looking to maybe for the first time potentially go short on. And it's now been 3 or 4 days in a row that we've pulled back. It continues to go high as expected this week from Palantir, from AMD, and from Uber later on this week as well. If the market wants to hold some of those bids, and likely to happen if the energy space gets a little weaker. So I know around continues to be, well talked about and high. So I can imagine across the United States looks like as well. So, the creation needs to get oil back in. So if we can get that going, and just a quick little look here on before we throw a bear. and here it is right now. So whoops, so get down again. Here's a to well simple as always advertising over here. Here's where we look zoom in. We're sort of stuck as well. So trying to break out of many different oil coming. The U.S. dollar is trying to tick upside a little bit there. That into the here we go 1 minute chart. This has looked to be a decisive move. It doesn't look like it. So we need to wait for something to actually happen. Just said we were looking at a daily chart or not. So there's the daily chart. Same type of things. Yields going up today, so maybe something there with the U.S. If it breaks lower, we're going to have a great run in the NASDAQ if we get to this area. So 90. Hey guys, what do you think about? Yeah, so I just talked about Uber. What Wednesday is it? Wednesday night there for Uber. I'm nervous about action hasn't been there. And I don't know. Okay, look at the market just went whoosh there. So maybe something. Yeah, what do we think? Uber, just looking at the chart, I think it's good. I mean, it's holding the 50 average. We've talked it near some of the lows again. Uber would be once at 7. Just waiting to hear about the impact of Waymo's had on their business. The active rides still on what metric they give, but how is that? DoorDash has been a big move up. We had Dash there at the house. Was that eating into a little bit of Uber's margin there, or depending on how customers are moving from one way to the other? We just found out that here with Amazon pet-free DoorDash, so I don't mind having Uber for the rides. DoorDash is actually hooked up with Lyft space for Uber. Although I'm still long the name, it's been disappointing because you look at some of those that are also in the tech space that have been absolutely getting up. Uber, I think, see the impact of the cyber cabs, impact of competition coming through with Waymo, and do people actually choose autonomous driving? Current state of how in there, how long will it convert over some of those cars? I don't know. We did get a look deal with NVIDIA too, not too long ago. There trying to figure out chips to get it more autonomous. So I like Uber, but it doesn't seem like it's moving around too much these days. So.
Yeah, just thanks for the super chat. UAE issued a potential missile threat warning, and USO popped out $2 on that. That was probably the reason. Just seeing the QI head a little bit to the downside, and they're swap here in the case of the QQQ, and back to I guess flat in the SPY, which is bouncing, trying to get flat. So. We always say this, you never really know what the next headline is. For now, that is, it's spiking oil futures higher, everybody. So, but half an hour to go, we'll keep our ear to the ground. We're still in the morning on oil prices, but spike here, boys.
All right, guys, 720 and 4/5 is where it was out Friday on the SPY. We're a little bit below now, down 0.15 on the SPY, essentially flat. We're below the 720. So you can see there on Friday, we're really caught a bid back a little bit. We got into 725. So we're going to say, a bit of a wider risk. Some bad headlines come in. Caused us to 715 was a very staunch. We're looking for it as support now. If we start catching a bit more 720, if we can get through that 720, we're looking at 25 high.
Happy Monday to everybody. If you haven't done so yet, freestyle low. Go down to this video. Second link there will get you to the sign-up page for the watch list. It is your email address. You get that for free. Every day comes right to your inbox to know every single morning. Then you come join us at 8 o'clock. Here we go. GameStop looks like that on a daily chart, right? Or almost tagged. I guess it was after the close on Friday. The interesting part of this is it comes out of nowhere at the end of the week, and now here they're still seeing, follow through, and a lot of people recycling the story again. So it's been 2-3 daily chart or so of pretty good money.
At you at all, by surprise.
Does anything surprise you with GameStop?
Afternoon
It's a little weird.
right? See, I've got a lot to say about this guy, so let's get right there. So, essentially, Ryan Cohen has amassed some money here to be able to help him pass this deal through without too much finance. He's got, as I mentioned, 9.4 billion cash that he's hoarded, and he also $0.2 billion long-term debt at 0% coupon, so $15.6 billion that he can apply to this $55 billion believe that. Also, he looked at the market budget here for eBay, and he was nonplussed about it, spending $2.4 billion in marketing in 2025, only to add 1 million net users, and that's like less than 1% budget and half from 2 to 1.2. That's what he's talking about there. Also, GameStop's got 1,600 stores, right, in the U.S. One is fraud. You advertise one thing, another. They're saying they can use some of these 16s to actually authenticate high-value items, jives. Also, still 5% toehold here. So quietly has amassed about 10% of the total outstanding shares of eBay and equities. One strategic advantage, Brendo, he can now that he has 5%, he can take directly to shareholders. That's another strategic play on his part. And not least the pure equity CEO play. His company is tied 100%. If the deal goes through of the two companies, he's not going to get anything guaranteed. That kind of signals to that his interest he will be aligned with the companies, if you believe that or not. But those are the I want to make.
eBay did come out and confirm said unsolicited off. I was just noting it's 400 note on this thing. Still, 69 million share of a couple of weeks ago, 15.2% short for it. That I think is going to be the story, guys.
Well, the analysis on the rest of the watch list is going to be brought to you by Agenda. Let's be real, where Bitcoin closes this week. Who wins? Where GDP arguing and start trading. Gemini predictions or no markets on commodities, politics, sports, and more. Featuring 5 and 5-minute crypto markets so you can action, set your amount, see your odds when you're right. Open an account at Gemini or scan the QR for more information there. And well, if I'm making a prediction market on this, if they start accumulating that eBay position February 4th, and there's been room for quite some time. I'm feeling the selling effect of this, whether the deal gets done or not, just for today. It's cash and stays, and it's been sliding back. So I might think VWAP, the whole usual pop and pre-market high, doesn't seem like a very good opportunity. I'm going to look for a fade on eBay today. If we get an average price around 113, that or even if it breaks that at 15, that makes a heck of a lot of sense. Given that this was speculated for quite some time, the stock going into this were to happen because it's unsolicited, it takes some time to get the board on board. And really, there's also going to be some shareholders don't want to own half of, they don't want up. So the stock, they're not that interested as well. Could be right here. So I'm going to look to short some pops here.
Just looking at USO here as, I guess it was Scott Bessent talking about having control of this, and, they're the ones in charge and so forth. So upside there on oil, we talk about those missiles, and then downside comes right back. So Scott Bessent now talking. So that's what's going through. This man, we had that poll up a while ago, GME versus Ethereum. We talked about how we liked near that $22, $23 mark. Looks like they were trying it out. 21, we haven't broke through 20 years, it seems like. I think literally you can go back and have this $21 level. Yeah, down 5%. When we looked at it earlier, 2.5%, go lower. I feel like looking to make money, but also looking to do good for shareholders, I would think. Possibilities, but we'll wait to see where this. I do think jives between the two companies. I mean, we talked about system, and I had talked about open system up and some sort of an earning system there. eBay is big for collectibles. You guys that. So I think some sort of. We used this word earlier, synergy. Two names, pricey, right? eBay has now sort of. I mean, I was surprised at the price of this. Very surprised. I think this is probably a short. I mean, how many other equity firms or anybody that's actually looking at eBay? So if we don't think that's a thing, this 7 or 8% bump here probably not worth for eBay. So I would actually maybe look at a short. I want they actually reported just to see get in the way of this now. I don't calendar here shows us that we've already had it April 29th. So their earnings there, they're outpacing 158 at 20% surprise. They're the year-over-year surprise in EPS and 21% year-over-year on EPS. Actually, right there with a big green report. So, helping this name get back to the 29th right there. So give us a rate update. I'd still like to fade this back through. I think it's probably going to break out anyways. So what about 106 or so for eBay? I could actually see that happening today. Come right to this level. That's probably 107.50 trade. Looked like it was going to break out potentially. Here's falls through or not. I don't know, but I like eBay at 107. I would rather have if they're the ones that they're going to fight over, worry about GameStop. They would be the trade for me on this story.
All right, let's continue along. Come on the earnings said PLTR, Palantir coming up after the close. AMD tomorrow. Uber, long list of important names. Let's be important names. Palantir going to be one of these, given all things and government related and Middle East related.
So Jay, Brendo, we know that designated that Maven targeting system of record now. So why is that important? Because was this sporadically funded experimental cost from a government department. Look for more on that earnings call. Then I wonder that big 330 million pound that Palantir struck with the health service in England. Well, there's a breakup clause between the two parties. More about that as the geopolitical tensions between the two ramps up. We've seen Karen and President Trump kind of trading blows. The non-agile to the use of AIP, that platform there. So what's how do the agents are AIP? It's not being used directly. Actually, the way that Palantir bills, rather license per human bait, actually be billed, but based on tokens, however used agentically. Last but not least, we have a lot of these boot camps, right, to kind of teach people how to use their systems, their Maven, AIP. What we don't really report on is the conversion rate between the boot camp people line up. If the amount of company subsequent to the boot camp drops, it could be a leading indicator. Basically, spend. That's another thing to keep an eye on.
It's been based forth here for the past couple of weeks going into this report. However, guys, for Palantir stuck still.
Well, you could say stuck in this range, but if there's one thing, all roads are aligning. Sean's note, my note, Shreef's note all say basically support level today. And I mean,
so that means it's wrong.
I see like a Cheshire Cat's bottom or whatever you want to call it. Friday, it's actually even more about. It's even more about when it had this 145 resistance, and then you have it. First return to support for a little bit of a dip and rip. So that's where my mind today. Just grip it and rip it. The 145. Well, I mean, it would trend break slightly green, because if you go from high and then the lower, it's been holding this series of lows. It's a bit of a trend break. Expect in terms of setting up a new upward trend will have to be after earnings for it to dip by in 140 level, and if they're all over 150. It's got like a good straight shot to the 200 period move in this 162, but we'll cross that bridge tomorrow, or even tonight.
Maybe tonight, yeah, exactly. As you talked about, therefore, Palantir earnings tonight, looking to get long on Fridays. Pretty stuff, man. I mean, we've seen these popping through. I actually, we haven't looked in a minute. There's never really been in short float on this thing. I'm just going to look at 5 p.m. is a conference call. It's coming immediately right after the open. It's only 3% short float on Palantir. Good guess. Not short side of things. And then I just thought 145 here, back and forth. Neil just sort of talked about it. I think I do think that there's competition coming. We've talked about that at 160 tonight. Shares. I just think there's other names that I can get behind, but I keep on going back. Last week it was upgraded by Dan I, and it's a big holding in there. It's also one of these in TFs as well. Still a lot of love for Palantir despite some of the headwinds. I'm gonna just look to see what it brings. Generally speaking, it hasn't really at all. So pace move, Adair will come with the implied between like 8 to 10%, I would assume, Palantir. So if we do get the upside, I'm just looking for guides. Like I said, I'm worried about Anthropic and the footprint that's odd. A lot of people saying that they're into a lot of, so that's something that Palantir is trying to. So when software as a service and there's competition, that squeezes margins, right? So Palantir's for a while. This name has gone 2 years ago to it's an absolute monster. Maybe it was 3 years ago. I said before, I think the easy money's now over with. And names right now are mooning. And all these chip names. It's time for Palantir. So I think a 200 period taking. So if we get something like that, but for right now, on any dips for Palantir, they probably want to be long rather than short. And if here you've already had a nice bid to change off of that is because there's a high. We can't break it. We keep going lower with these highs. Today's kind of a good look here. Trend break on these moves. I could draw a line if this were actually, from here down to here. But breaking it above I'm long Palantir today if we get a dip.
So we've been off and on throughout the morning. Here's the 15 maybe this gap to the upside this morning on Bitcoin was a decent start, but we're right back to levels from Friday.
So headline sensitive, you feel like nothing you can do but that. And we saw that as soon as President Trump came out and, with the escalation proposal, we saw a huge bump up, touching 80,000, making a 3-month high. What was, usually driven by slow accumulation. And this move saw 9.8 billion taker volume in 2 Binance, and that kind of is suggestive of these institutional orders are not really setting up or stair-stepping up in the price there. So I'll have to see if that continues into. And we was talking about, and that's North American inflows, but BlackRock and ETF in Europe as well as ETF. And that just crossed 1.1 billion UM. Nice geopolitical kind of participation.
The good news is still holding higher, shorter time frame point.
We talked a couple of coins, but there's a comparison that I want to make. You look at iBitch breaking out a pretty, or Liking it. Thanks, Rob. Appreciate it. A little cup of Joe.
Quick, that was nice. Thank you, Rob. But the right thing is I got this bear mug. So
I got you can't see it. Tasty cup.
that was one of his businesses.
Which we just wanted to point out that the reason why I said if I bit that support, I liked it 43.20 to 44.30. That if I look for a short, we lose that level. It'd be much more interesting, and because ETH has been weaker, like ETH questions asked, it hasn't even broke these local highs. It could get there today, lag move, but if I'm seeing crypto fail, I want to be breaking out. And if we lose that support level, I think there's almost in like downside. Reminds me, I should probably pay for locates, because that one's not free.
Yeah, I mean, saying we talked about this a lot. I'm going to try to be quick with it. Well, it's about IBIT, and I don't know why I don't do it. It's the same thing with U.S. silver or anything like that, opens up or not. Like, there's 44.50 area long down at 7/3, so we wrote that down on the stick, where does it off of? Literally 44.50, so it's already giving you 20. This gives me a little more dip in it. Remember, I wrote that down on the 200 period. So, like when we're overstock, I'm like, okay, well, if we dip into here, the total line. So, although we did get a little under that, right? I think I'm wondering about like try 30 cents or so to make sure that you don't get part of that. At the end of the day, we've already bounced off the level that we like. I believe that there is some sort of a buyer there. That's going to cause, and so if we can dip back into our area, I'm a buyer. I've already noted it, right? Like I said, this was out actually, I don't know when, but we down in there. It is 44.50 area long. Looking at Friday, ran into 80,000. Let's see if we can do it again. It's IBIT. I like the end. It's just another one of those like me having get your off my coffee cup here. So I'm for bringing this in, but I'm bullish, not on crypto today. All right, 9:22. Man, we still have a little ways to go. This market opens, and some sort of a stock called oil. Moving around this pre-market, that's for
Giving back the entire for USO now at fresh low, now off 140. We give back that entire early move. Scott, the world currently in an 8 to 10 million bay deficit. That can't be good. You would think that would have popped there for prices, but not yet anyway.
It makes you this thing where we are saying prices are not going to rebound in the way that hope for, especially, let's talk about this, guys, because President Trump over the week announced that U.S. said begin active military escort guide stranded tanks. He said basically these are going to be neutral ships tied to neutral involved in the conflict. We'll have to see how that ultimately. The OPEC, now the 8-member OPEC group met over the weekend. They agreed on barrel per day production hike. Marking much about that because they know they actually increase on their own or decrease on their own now. And then this, so satellite data from super interesting. They added 40 million barrels for storage 30 days alone. The implication doing this is that they believe prices will higher for longer and their rate at these elevated levels. These are some of the add this many to their strategic oil reserves. So, is higher for longer. Let's see if they're right.
The OPEC at least can make as much as they want if they can anywhere that all together. So right now, definitely for.
Yeah, no question. If you look at almost back half of last week, and that happens today, but the last is there actually has been really buy support in oil. So despite the fact that the market is held up, like from the open, it's despite a down day, from the open on Thursday, it was all to the upside. If we buck that trend, and it looks like, obviously it looks pretty heavy like it did on Friday after the gap. Buck that trend is gradually rising all day. That's even more, I think, for the overall market to pay. So I'm going to use it as it's like a little bit of a quick little indicator. Like if we pop into resistance or the volume wave, it's just a good spot to look for bounce at possible reversion level. So I'm going to continue to use it in that as opposed to trying to guessing what the next eventual headline is. Just a quick note. Is gapped up and they have like a buy and balance.
Yeah, I saw that.
With a 5 cent. Call BlackBerry. IBIT with a 400,000 actually potentially give us.
We just had it marked down as invest something today.
Yeah,
like a conference area there. BB. I don't know.
It just made the note and it has that Nvidia, but there was no.
Yeah, we did see, okay, so yeah, but we've kind of hit that one. Cloud marketing, the Zeta, I mean, a lot of people talk about it. Adair did get back to social media, talk about it after it's an earnings play. I don't find out, like, why everybody really loves this stuff. Again, a business, there's ZET, a little bit of a talk about it there. It's not much volume, but 250,000 shares here in the going. Oh yeah, there's BB. So we're gonna. I mean, maybe we can get that again. I didn't realize that. So we can go talk to these guys. GameStop, AMC, all these kind. Always will catalyst. So let's go back over to the board. We now have a minute, or sorry, 3.5 minutes. The bell opens, but let's go get a story from, and then we'll see some key level. Baby, it's Monday.
Coattails here, it seems, anyways, over the on the momentum. Other names, GME, obviously completely unrelated, but just for here's the collaboration with NVIDIA on Integrax OS for Safety 8.0 with NVIDIA IG4. So that was going back 2 weeks ago on that news story anyways, but be the catalyst. So.
Equals is apparently how many this QNX installed in. Not a bad look here. Looking to expand that with NVIDIA. I don't really have much to say on stock is up 43. Keep an eye on the technicals, I guess.
I said maybe riding some coattails or, social media stocks if you want to.
That could be part of it, but like it's the part a nothing story, right? Like,
no, it's a good one.
And if you can do that any shorts that are, still out on, you throw on top of that back in last year, I guess it wouldn't be 52-week highs or 52-week highs, that's February, but potential breakout looming. The one thing that I don't love about it, like look at the channel it's in. Weird down channel, all lower high, somewhat lower lows without breaking that 6. So the one that would look good would be a false break. Right? You just get in the middle of the $6 and immediately get above VWAP. Because if it doesn't you're not any shorts on a gap up, loses the volume weighted average price and trends down all morning. That kind of a setup might end up being a little bit of a pass. That there was a buy and balance there, 1,000 shares, so maybe that gets it a little. You can't see because my head's so 7 on BlackBerry. That's not out. It's done $3 million in the pre-market, but about one name we didn't make the move now with less than a minute until the $100 on Friday a couple times. 2 just underneath, like about 95 or 86. So market to me it needs to $0.50. Take 100.5. Fails a 100 break off the open. Then I want to Persian a bit. Palantir. Because I think if eBay gets VWAP, I'm going to look to see some highs on that. As we get into the open bell. May the 4th be with you, everybody. We'll have Palantir housing and trading to get to first.
All right, here we go, man. Open as we get ready to rock and roll. On the list that's would be Google. We did write down 385. Again, taking it open can be pretty dangerous. So we're gonna hold off, just watching out for Google right back in, and there it is, breaking through 385. Just trying to watch to see, like last week we were playing some names early that didn't work out. We took too many shares too early. 385 once more just would have been a job, as it just, let's not, count our chickens before they had 5 whole there on Google just to start the day. It just caught a downgrade today, never understood. And there it goes, straight again. We were looking at AM on our list, 5 long. We never came into that. So that, look for opportunity there for AMD. Google flirting with that, as it just broke through. Again, the market may be trying to get a little lower. A name that going and in the night is Tesla. See if I got to get right there, but we can see what 387 or so. And Intel's a new vice president. So, okay, not the story that with Intel, but maybe potentially moving down underneath. Will you're 105 first? I don't know, but rolling back in that top candle at $100. We've video pull off Intel with that one, and looks like so that's another name that was.
Well, I was just Jimmy because eBay was getting whacked. Maybe GameStop could be breaking out and going in the other direction, but it's not really. eBay was going to be a pop and fade. Never mind. Now eBay's starting to rally, so it is starting to get to the upside. Get into if it gets to V, that's the first place I'd look, or the 150. Want to be patient with coming in. Might have missed a chance on Intel. I thought it would break $100, but there is a topping tail.
I'm trying to get back up there, but
I thought we'd break it, and the short would be to 100 up there. Let's go to a day.
I have more details on the Intel. People are interested again. Not a massive mover, but some stuff of interest here. Intel appointing former Alex in as Executive Vice President and General Manager of Computing and Physical AI. So interesting segments here for INTC. Again, former Qualcomm executive here, Alex being appointed to that EVP position. Then you've got being appointed technology officer. Now the CTO appointment, when you learn that named interim CTO, so it looks like that position now isn't again. So announcements here for INTC. Back to you.
Thank you, Adara. Bitcoin is it all, which I guess we get used to this a bit, where at the open it's pretty quiet, but quiet market's going down. We're just sort of sliding off of some prior high. To get involved yet. Palantir, I shift, but there's no point sitting down there if we're not going to get it. It's trying to taking out the high, then there could be some higher low to try to catch to the upside. Oh, Roblox was on my 47 fade.
Roblox.
Well, Roblox had okay, fine. Roblox was down a monster open on Friday, and then turn 11 was also an after. So I'm looking for maybe a pop in 87. I've got to show you the turn first. Actually could come in there. You get this one to the upside. Good recovery day for Roblox. If it can bust through 40, but I'd be looking for handle there first. And nothing dropped. Just might have missed that short though.
Yeah, Intel short, I'm still waiting for, I don't know, near 90. Palantir, missed opportunity, is had the longs written down there for Palantir. It doesn't come into the list, coming into the 200. And I wrote down 145, and you know what, look, when we had wrote that down, obviously it was a 200 period play. More, look, some will hold, some of these levels. Want to necessarily get into that would be a little bit too early. We'll see if Palantir does want to pull back in, and then that goes as well. You can see it's pretty choppy right here. If anything, going into that short, you just tell, of course, and oh shoot, yeah, okay, we're not even close to that right now. So pop up to get short into that one, and that's been going hard as well as Marvell. That's still do a red market, so we could definitely have a look there as it goes right into, again, the close from Friday. So some starting to get, but then just going short the market. If a lot of these names are up, I mean, Palantir's the high of the day, so that one potential. The Nasdaq, right? I mean, let's wait. We always talk about VWAP level. We'd like to see it dance for a little bit. It's now 9:35. We could probably aggressive. So I'm gonna try maybe a short, as that Neil and I are looking at half, but if the market doesn't have AM today, it doesn't have Intel with it, does it have Nvidia with? But yeah, Nvidia's blasting. Okay, what about the other big ones here? It's hard to go if you're going to be fighting big. That's for sure. So Apple downside. Okay, I don't like Microsoft. So it looks like going to be Nvidia, which is playing a little different than. It's not going to affect the Nasdaq too much, but upside. So here to get involved with the NQs to not a horrible spot, but would like to see a little more movement here as a definition. But as Palantir through 150, I mean, for sure, just by the number, but right here, 150.60s, maybe a high, but here we go. They're buying up, and here it goes, or to the moon. Just too bad we didn't get involved there. We'll see. Maybe we break 150. No. We took Intel breaking 100 in minutes, so I don't know about Palantir up here.
I don't know. Not the way the market to the downside did actually. No, but as it came back through 1.5, but let me just get that off for a second. I wasn't even holding it down. Thing just pops up. Let me turn that off. No, I didn't get this at V coming right back level. Instantly, buyers showed up at one. Some kind of a eye on the acquirer. And moment, like GameStop was breaking a quick little scalp trade, but you don't getting a 50-50, right? Like the offer is 50% cash. So if game hard, I might let that slow down a bit before taking it at eBay. And here comes live. You're starting to get a little bit of movement here. It was suddenly going down, and Bitcoin was. If it's going to like 44.3 and more, but if we can't start bouncing off VWAP, then might just have to take that. I'm not going to jump TR too early. And as far as it's a continuation play, it's a short and volume weighted average price. If we're not, I'm not going to beat the LOD.
You know what's going on? We're finally back into now on Big Bear AI. There it is, man. You guys know we're long at that magic 20-ish tomorrow. It's a 5th. Yeah, I can't remember. We'll look up EBAI. I think it's. Is it tomorrow, Dara? Yeah, tomorrow after hours. If these guys can, continue increase in our poll. So we'll see if Big Bear AI, another name that I like that we've been liking for there, as well as another name, Lily. I'm going to start to show the game again. I hope Joe's beating me because to feel good about everything. Right there, we'll see if we can that level again. Neil said I'm 50s, or sorry, 44. That's not coming through. I want to on Intel. That's not coming through. So I'm like something here. I could go short, but it wouldn't be. I wonder there with the Nasdaq. It's just not getting anything exciting right there. Yeah, and Nvidia, will it hold? To answer for sure. but yeah, forget about the 200 level. Bottom, I mean, not the very bottom wicks, but it looks like that closing is 198.7, 199. So I think 50 might be some sort of, or it was, okay, well, 198.50 may be a little bit of a better close to get long on if NVIDIA to build. Man, to answer your question, yeah, like VWAP is there. Looks like it wants to support it. Relatively blah market right here. NVIDIA goes up to the upside now, up 1%. Ready for watching, man. Make sure you hit the like, hit all of that. Hey, you know what? The biggest number this week of the earnings is job report. So Friday's job report is going to send this market one way or the other. And I think if it's a little, guess what's going to happen, baby? So get ready for more cut talk on.
The biggest number is just wherever DRAM is.
DRAM and SNDK is at like 1,500.
Most
1240. Percent higher than that little game that Joe. And I was just this name for some reason got 1,000 on Earth. Jokes on you, and then boom, up now percent from that earnings day, which was just Thursday. Okay, and despite not us,
I think it's led to Micron though. Micron seems like it's still.
Yeah, I mean they're just sort of throwing darts at either those names. I think no matter what you're getting, 108. Beyond Meat, I don't know if they're discussing this army or not anymore, but now back below $1. Just bring that to your attention because the break is always in there for BYND, and it's a good thing that market because there it is right now. The highs one more time as there we go. Media calls and all that is probably right now. So BYND over that can get there, blasting higher. There it goes, man. As this one and Palantir stops stone cold Steve Austin at 150. We'll see if they. Thank you, Joe. As that there, not drinking beers, but up 3.5. Alex Karp tips one off tonight. Great call. Very eclectic and should definitely be pumping the tires. Tesla right there, 392. Another led, man. We talked about businesses. Tesla is definitely one of those. LTR.
One technically, was just
Right.
saying because I know the chat will say it, and it did not found Tesla.
For this example, when you think about one, I don't think any of us knows any other executives other than in tech. Now, here goes Tesla, upside again, 394. We'll see if it winds up. Is there a $100 marker on it?
A lot of indecision here in this market.
Yeah, I get it. I like right now.
The only list would be trying to get eBay off. Like that's about it. Put in a lower high off the topping tail. So, but you gotta watch. Now starting to come back. So that's the thing. Like it turned when GameStop candle there at $26. Intel doesn't seem like anything. But nothing. Like IBIT's not moving. There's no. It hasn't broken out the top. It market lows. Really there, and Palantir for all of its, it hasn't run the 150. He pulled back to give a 47 look. It might just like Roblox. I wanted to wait till it got to 47. Starting to indicate there could be a little bit of a turn, not to force the action that results Roblox.
I found SoFi, I think, a little interesting for me here because it's up and trying to. It is pulling back. We'll sit there. If we can get a couple hundred shares, just start off with. We're not getting any fills down there as we run the horse SoFi. So we'll try it there. Coming in, moving average right now out pre-market lows. I feel like we'd want to hold on to this, but right there 40s. So we'll average in a little bit SoFi, anything that's too hero based, a little bit of a pullback in the market. This thing has been pretty close, but then we take a big move on earnings right back in. Same as it also was up 3% today, so that's actually doing much better SoFi right now. But we'll play the dip buy and see if it wants to dip there. We're now long at 49s, so we'll see if a little bit SoFi as we play a dip buy. Well, 6 cents. Remember, our stop was going to be so now 16.39. I'll just stop 75% of it. There it goes. Play here. So we're going to take a trade in another offer at 50 cents. And then there you go, man. So about 1-to-1 as we'll see if we can take 8. And then, watch out for that downside. The first, and we'll see if it can there it is. We get a 50 SoFi. Levels there. We talked about it. Let's see if we can get back. Next offer, the 65 marker. See if we can actually on SoFi.
Yeah, good. I might just try to get back over to eBay. Still the other side of that roll.
Yeah.
Like it just took up that pre-market, not the lower high, starting to gravitate towards 47. So waiting a little bit higher, I think, is going to make a little bit of a in eBay. It just continues to put so scalping to the low, continual thing here, and keep it. Remember on GameStop pulling back. If I see GameStop up and start to scalp out of eBay, pretty simple. Cash. It doesn't mean they have to move together. Palantir bounced so clean off the volume weighted average. Looks like it's headed to that 150. Again, we're not getting the lows. 145 point on Palantir to be a VWAP or pre-market low long. Don't want to be away from me here on Palantir. Top gets into price, going to try and take the scalp out of here. If I get like 50 pennies on it, we'll take what we can get because anytime got to get out of the short.
I just want to mention this because I'm seeing a couple in our chat, but UPS and FedEx pretty hard this morning. This was mentioned on our watch is launching this Amazon services. This is being viewed as kind of putting more height with UPS and FDX. So again, FedEx and parcel service Amazon appears to compete more heavily with both companies. See at 100 level, actually trying to crack below 99. FDX, FedEx, so near days lows. Back to you.
Thanks to Dara for we're working out. We just got the one trade so far. So I'm going to wait at 66 a little bit more, just 10% more. I'm actually of about 35%, about a third of SoFi, and maybe I would reload it actually if it does come in because it's so good on that. So, and we have our ear to the ground. I mean, welcome everybody to Dara here. So any sort of a news break on anything Department of War related, the Strait, or anything that's moving around with oil, talking about it. I mentioned oil if that does come through. So I still here 50, something like that, even 144 right there. US, so I almost said there. So far, I'm still trying to go. That's looking up here as I have my little scanner right here, and that's why we talk about USOs on there, Occidental, maybe showing up. I have 1224. Yeah, and a lot of these breaks early and stuff like that are just looks like right here, SMR's down there. These stocks early, like there's Marvell. It sort of developed the scanners for a lot of the stuff that I'm using. It does take a minute to make sure that and things like that. So Marvell 1 is a nice little break. That name, Google, did it wind up holding that? Because no, not even close. So that was a good runaway from us on that one. I thought Michael Noss he was talking about, some of these, and maybe, seeing it would be, and then Brendan quickly sort of said, well, but the other way. But it looks like we are pulling back a little bit some of those highs. So there would be to get back up there. I am second here. We're not breaking through this 60 to 62. Not to throw this back, he actually looked at it. I haven't looked
in quant that there was like an offering of 90, the exact number. I'd have to find the story, actually a news story of decent size. Reason they're down. It is halted to, but it's down 60 something. So think of it like a Canadian, I don't know, like Rigetti or something. I don't know anything fundamental. Oddly enough, I happen to know somebody who this thing long for them, but it sucks to be them. They are halted upside. The halt very. It just keeps on catching these little bounces off the 109. So that 109 bounced off the 109, get short in here. Time we get a pop, try to scalp short, and then just going back a bit. Like the Nasdaq above VWAP, like it's a slight, decent trend so far. Like it's nothing crazy holding out and to the upside. So market 44.5. I might start there. But once we break this consolidation, as well. So just break this little, I'll take that for an eye. But otherwise, I'm just going to keep scalping, get some shorts in that eBay trade. And from fraud, greetings.
This guy's everywhere.
AMD come down.
Well,
come on, son.
Stay pro. Come on, man. What are you on this thing? Possible, right? I mean, it first has to happen with a horrible to come to
a horrible report.
Yeah, by the end, you could be down 10%. Sort of, it starts to open up a little bit, but I'm that Adam, Mexico City, but I just is just right now until the tides eventually, and they will. Names will come back in. I think we've all. I mean, this kind of a dramatic something that we would expect from an AMD, but you looked at it, billion or something. It's not even like a huge, no, not it's not a huge market cap even yet. The PEs are definitely not right now. We'll see if it can live up to its valuation come tomorrow. Micro devices 180 would be less. It's funny to say come back in a month ago. So I mean to think that it could to where it was normalcies be like, yeah, that can for sure in this market. It does not seem like it these days. Palantir, I guess we did a good job getting a little bit out of SoFi there in the 60s again, because this haven't been there on 10 cents, but we're nicely now on the market. Here comes Palantir. We 100 period. So, hey man, talk about a name coming. Palantir's time right now. 47. I'm going to take a shot. 50 on PLTR. In for SoFi, so if that goes there for that, but let's put a little bit of a trade on right now in the 40. What do we get? 39 here on Palantir. Just looking to see if it breaks. We're back at the 200 period because it's earnings, because it's where it is. Giving this one just then the 200. So stop in right now. And let's get out of 75% of it if we break this 146.39. Not getting out of 100%, still a little early. Make like out only to see it bump up. At least if it does, we have a little advantage of this real quick. We just made 30. They're spinning money there today. Good little move there on as we buy at 74s, so cents, not huge. There it is. There now, could it be $1 as we're starting to go upside 48? Put another 8, and there it goes, man. It's as quick as you. It's a 1 minute trade, 61 cents, and trying to go a little higher LTR, and we're trading it. It's Palantir so far. So good, we'll put another offer on. But here goes Palantir, man. Quick as you like, dollar here on PR. So, good one there. Where it is now? Oh, man.
Looking at Apple, actually, believe it or not, buy now recently. So, it hasn't been in the chip space. Recently, another fail of about 2 years. There's been support prior, but this is weak relative. I don't think this is necessarily the one I'd be excited for the dip buy. Maybe I'm looking at Intel if we can get our now underneath view up. Lower high got put in, punch through, like hold half underneath, and then short it, kind of getting away. It was having successive bounce, but it's not going to be GameStop's fault. But it did put up available pop-ups if we get the chance. But I'm actually looking on, at least on Intel, and I don't know if I'd be of that NVIDIA just looks so weak relative. Intel actually catching a bit. So it's not that doesn't really signal an entry for me. For signal any entries, Apple on the radar because it's getting really close. But Apple could be filling from Thursday underneath 275. So that's a whole turning into potential. Is Apple down 1.5% into a flat? Yeah, I like buy the, and it's getting pretty close, but $1 away.
All right, 70 cents now in a Palantir debt. Just here at 148. It does go into 148. So now I have an offer that will work out. SoFi, so we have VWAP. We're still going to wait for that one to do it, man. We did see CoreWeave really here today. I've identified that this week. Am I wrong on that one? Goes CoreWeave in 3 days from now. So as we just heard in the back there, 7th, can come up with something, and it looks like buying it just to make sure. So there goes CoreWeave. Percent today. Individual story today on CoreWeave or anything, but definitely making. Okay. We gave SoFi a little bit of a room. Thanks, Dara. We're giving a little bit of a room to breathe, so we'll get out some 61. Or do we get 60 half there? I don't know. So a little bit there as that comes back up. We're so good on buying. Although it doesn't look like, I mean, Palantir, but I'm going to take another piece here at 60. Back in direction at VWAP there. So reloading it at this price at 147, but we're out. Don't like, we were really the pressure out there at 65. I did think that VWAP, the fact that it didn't, I don't want to say scary, but nervous from that did.
Circle.
Wow, crypto.
So I suspect that this is up because we show Bill, there were some concerns about this drop in Circle a couple months ago. Now apparently dealt with. Y'all is to the upside. Guess or intuition based on prior and as of Friday.
All right, there it is. Circle.
Crypto in general, just been an absolute nothing burger. I thought was going to be anything. We're still holding, and thought like Bitcoin was going to be on then at all. Absolutely ridiculous. For Apple to get down some low, holding up pretty well. You can see it still drops, fills in the gap. 275, and that looks a little bit more interesting. W halted, so we do have a.
Oopsie.
We go. Not EP. To the upside for a small cap trader today, I believe. Yeah, second halt of the day, done a couple million. The tap.
Now we're coming. Oh, what the hell? I got Intel.
To that 100 level.
Yeah,
It's not there yet. Like 99.80 popping tail yet, so I'm going to be patient. Could come in for a bit and still waiting for the eBay. More. It was putting in pretty distinct lower. Hasn't been that to the volume weight average price. Maybe even able to pick. 10 o'clock just hit. We're going to go to 3 orders and yeah.
It is time for happening now. No mentioned factory orders month over month. Estimates of 0.4, and that's going to be for the token higher than expected. 1.6%. So 0.3% was the March, or for February percent, which was. But again, March factory orders month over month, one factory order 1.6%. So forecast and above the prior year at this kind of trade near that sub 720 level. We'll take a look at the NASDAQ doing NASDAQ actually intraday highs. So both of these again can higher on, of course, monitoring oil and you headlines coming out of the back and forth as to whether or not it U.S. ship that was going on. President Trump also saying he wasn't interested in the most recent as of last night. Palantir is going to be on watch tomorrow after the bell. Tonight after the bell, they watch them tomorrow for earnings day one. Keep an eye on also in focus. Ryan Cohen, CEO of GME company, has put $95 per share bid on eBay. eBay at roughly 56 EBAY here, currently $109, so below $25 price that again GameStop is offering. Market high as of Friday when it was first 20, so it never quite got to that per share price as far as we can tell. Again, Pinterest all reporting. Back to you.
By that report, really active lately for traders, this kind of opportunity and big moves, which requires more momentum. Of these, you need two things, of course: capital. Instead of being limited by and firm capital, execute your manage risk. No more fear of blowing up. No more moving your stop loss to worry about your own savings. This is what we call limit trading. So if you want to take advantage of the volatility without risk capital, get pool.com by scanning that QR screen and please insert Trader TV to get 10. Okay, we tried it. It's kind of a mistake, but we tried in and got out again. But right there for Intel wants to go any lower at this point. $100 marker. We're kind of at that. Obviously, we can see that up here, possibly as being. I think we keep on wicking higher here. So I'm going to try to go a little light now into this. 50 as that's been right there, 99.40. So let's get this one and see if it does for us. We can maybe take a little wait to get into like 99. See if we can short a little bit more into that area or that 99.50 here on I and I like up holding out for us. It was good and then it wasn't. 75% there on that move, that break lower here there, and this is why we try to hold a little bit. Getting it all out might be a good play. So bounce, that was the pre-market for PLTR. Market might want, so we'll have to watch out as that one goes against us a little bit there. But we got more and we did not reload yet, so I don't reload on right now. But Intel short, it's my biggest position, and then 5% left, so we'll see if that one can, hopefully what we lost there, but it's Intel short for the bigger position for myself.
I've been into making the move to the upside. It just continues. And so went over and said if it's going to turn into a be short on BM take and then put in the topping tail so that I can think that the front I did, but gotta respect happening. translated back into the volume weighted average price, as long as we hold on to that over there in IBIT. And then if we find along somewhere 3, obviously I'd want to get out of BM&R, J underneath VWAP, and so like it's like circle is strong. I don't know what else is going to be strong, but I'll trade because that, and I'm with you on Intel. What am I sitting at? 42? Yeah. Phil, but it looks to me like this is trying to break, and already 9.5. I might nip if I can. I think playing it tight and then back in price makes a little bit of sense. But again, I can think that the first trade, but it ends up being a BM&R and then shorting that stock. So already got half out. We'll see if we get any follow through. The market, anything crazy today. I thought.
Yeah, no, it's been a pretty.
Considering all the earnings that we had, absolutely so much momentum.
Yourself, fool.
Oh,
here we go. Nice move now, therefore, and we've been watching this name. Low, we can go. So nice move, low. We keep go. And I said this is going to be my, and it is. So there we go. Let's see how low on Intel at lower. Okay, here we go, man. Intel. Let's and get back into that view up of 98. We don't have too many bills. We better put them out. We just missed that 98 there. So far, so good. We are going to wait to get stopped. Our good. Put some more orders out on Palantir as we wait for Intel. But yeah, man, there it is. Intel. We were fighting Intel up there, and we did get stopped out. Then just raise it just a little. So far, so good. We'll just wait to see where we get NTC for rate.
Yeah, that actually worked out really well. I was sitting on the bid, and we got out.
Chef Boyardee.
I was bid for more shares that I was showing. Just picked up on the offer, but the short, I was able to get 99. I think 20. Saying it right back.
So
it always works out. Accidentally reverse and like a good trade, but that's not the way. Catching a bit of a bid here. I'm seeing a hold VWAP. I'm going to take, if I can, right in front. I still want to try to hold for, but I don't want this getting all the top here. So I'm going to forget about giving it past here, like really tighten it up. Maybe only risk a couple of pennies on this. Let's see if we get that. I am seeing USO tick up.
If I went out.
So this is, I actually like that for reports. If we get, so far so good on BM&R. If anything on that, so I think that kind of bodes well. I'm still looking over at this pound. Seem to want to come all the way to 140. If this breaks to 145, then I thought. But crude oil going higher bode well.
Load up until it up there again. So we'll go like this. And here comes right back. Yeah, yes, we did. We just got an 85. So we just reloaded that. I believe there 23s or whatever it was. see if we can now get our 75s. Maybe we can get it. Nice move on INTC, and I was this could definitely make or break the morning. Here, unfortunately, we do. If it does dip down, we probably get out now at the low rebound there in the market. We did get a lot of that move, but the low now on PLTR, we can get an offer up here at 147. For right now, no side there. Intel, for those of you looking for a price target, I mean, we were into these levels there. I'm trying to get bounced off me now twice. I went to last time. I thought we'll wait to see 75. There, go up at 40, breaking lower. I would be like this 90 like that, so it's about $1 lower. Would be like sort of the look for me, but definitely we would clear out of half of what. Look at that, man. We just missed our 75. Good thing we took it all the way back up. Just waiting for it to come back. That's happening. It's something that's been common. Right here, NVIDIA 98. I mean, we did somebody 198.50. That's where your 200 period moving average. Now it's trying to get see if NVIDIA did find a bottom. 7. Zeta. Earlier,
News on oil.
I didn't hear anything about oil, but he
Report on South Korean.
is USO looking like?
Yeah.
Could be okay. I mean, we don't know anything about that.
Small spike.
Yeah, they've already claimed, this. So, I don't know, but the spike in USO.
Not much.
That fire could be anything, really, but who knows? But South Korean vessel, so someone's firing. And, hopefully, I don't know. Really know what to say at that point. Because where I'm going with it, but yeah, me too.
Well,
3.
I always like that. Look over. If it's not, then I try to have a deal because the market's not. So it was probably the right decision to VWAP on being the stop up. So that ends up working to see some strength, and it was short, and sometimes that might mean short. So I mean, so far it's been the trades that I was expecting. The only one was exactly as expected. BMNR worked for a bit, and now long here in I VWAP, and then we can start going to start going. So now making its way back, and that means for the overall market here. Once we close USO right back in, they don't care. It doesn't seem like the oil futures cared about that. It wouldn't be wrong at USO.
All right. I'll say there goes Palantir, nicely cooking. Palantir back up to the upside of this. Do that right there. We did get 1%, so we'll be roughly a little bit into the flat area there. So we'd like to get it to back into view up if that's at all. But we're more excited is because of this chart right there. I did take a 90 because I was like 25. As you can see, the 200 that's graduated up into this now. I was going to say, we're finally on here, but we'll see if that wants to go. Yes, they're 5% again. It sucks because like early, and I didn't know highs. We could have reached, but without just going to hold on to 25%, 49, which I do have. 200 period, big trade for me. Talked about already. Stock, you don't even have that up, so I gotta see what you guys want to talk about right here. It's Tesla. Oh, Tesla 391. Yeah, there's Nvidia up percent. Oh yeah, GameStop, Intel, Hood. Hold on that one, but it looks like it's showing. SNDK. There's that Xanadu. That one, of course.
What's up, 4?
Hood is right. Can always get questions about, and I'll look out for Joe and Sharif coming in about. But it's Tesla right now, right? I mean, back up, and how would you know to show? But that's coming 90, and now dancing around VWAP. So just choose Intel right now. We're still bidding 52s too in our account here. So let's cheer that on. Little level. Trying to get VWAP. VWAP's at 41. We'll just save this and see if we can grab right now for the Wintel. There we go. We get another. Make sure that we do get something out. Let's go for a little bit more short up there, but we here we go. Pretty flat today for me. I mean, we started off.
Wasn't that bad?
Yeah, the Wintel for Intel. Yeah, it's not. We're trumping, but that's what we're doing. You went long on that. For
but well, we were looking for. I was looking here, but that's not where the missed the entry at 44. Let's call it getting out of a short in BMN. I call BM the high of the day, and I high of the day. But it's been a there's just no out low pre-market highs until it shows you you're doing something. Not really seeing that. Apple, still hasn't gone down to the gap bottom on Apple. It's that close. Bottom tail candle on the 15th, not 15-minute entry, then 276 on the. So far it has actually been good, like blocks for me. BMNR, eBay, bit still got a nice little bottoming tail, and then so we'll get out pre-market high, and then we'll get
Intel doing okay.
Can you gents give my on Q breaking 48.5?
Insane.
Sanity check. Why is this one going?
Probably, well, you quantum names in Canada there.
Bad for one.
Maybe.
Oh,
Canada.
This looks for a potential squeeze.
40.
But big time resistance at 9.5.
Intel a bit right now. Yeah, man, we will just go up radio. Finally, big time dollar turned our frown upside down. We're green on the day now. There goes Intel, man. Huge win. Now that you said Intel stuff, going into Apple right now, so we're hitting those 2-2 pitches. When you get to try and tell the kids this week, man, you got to shorten that. When you get 2 strikes on here, let's go, man. Fire off. Glizzy's, the Rogers Center, very popular. Is right now down through on the money, and we said right here. So man, it's there on. So it's been a little bit more out there. See if we can get something in the 80s. Talking with me today, their trail. It had to go. So we said it was going to be a day maker, flat move there. We did give some up on Intel, but we lost a little. Palantir just did, by the way. We on Pal wrong way. We have the L of the day, but that's why we did hold 25%. We said if we got back, pretty good. And then the dollar is still a good cover as it just fell. We called this area. We have 99.90s, 7.90s to get out again, and then order. Still about 35% or so. Good, and hopefully you guys were able to do that. Are so good on that, even gives it up. I think we could here side as it really bounces off of that day. So with what's been working and a bit from last week, making sure we don't and holding a little bit of something for SoFi, which is SoFi is right back there up. Basically, all the calls just our stops triggered, and so small cap recap. I guess I'll do a Dara and markets.
Talk about these small caps here. This is CNS. The ticker here, they announced a 22 placement of $650 at $2.30 per share. Trading at 9 for CNSP. Next up, and they're actually also going to be on Wednesday. Their official company press release can't be laid. Hold out hope they will report extensively the day that this a couple days ago. This one had a massive report. Plant-based for alternative for food rations. Last but not least, Refrain. They are on what news-related reason, the likes of, as mentioned, BYND, GameStop, meme stock, sympathy play, has that tie-up between its and now sort of the extension on 420. Back to you.
There, I don't know that reporting is. You have a squeeze name like I'm bored. Like you want, let it be like
See those earnings.
right, like it's the throw water on any kind of a squeeze plan. I didn't realize
I wouldn't.
the day they report. I feel like if it's still could give you a reason to get out. Wrong word. We just had to push some lows here on you king the bottom. There's a potential on IBIT through like the we're right at 70 at least today, but if we fail the high VWAP, otherwise 45 even dollar level. Apparently YZ is a ripper today. Why be?
Well, I mean, we get Cleos.
But half a destiny, right? A bunch of other stuff in there, like OpenAI and then half of it's going to be SpaceX. Ripping. Maybe it is those that they like to do. Every single time you do any actual holdings, the stock, as the late private holdings, if you just do the simple math, you pay less, you get exposure to things. So to each their own. And then right?
Well, it's kind of the same thing. Like once you buy MS, you can have a huge short flow XYZ. So there could be other options. So
More of a flow. That's the reason, like, because it's such a big short constantly in, so it can squeeze. Fundamentally, because you can literally do them and find out that you're the growth.
there could be like another raise somewhere or something. Values space. The next thing you know, like they're $400 billion, $600 billion. SoFi here, they did not off of their most recent quarter, but we do hold into 50 right there. Intel, man, for some reason nail that level. Down into there. So we said that we had a quarter left. So we did out like we should have. Rates with you, we were waiting. Thought that could have been a good level, but we got a bunch out there. Some there at V1. I'll try it again. This time if it breaks 99.50 at that level. So we be on the maximum and our stop. So ring the register. And again, we talk it's hard enough. You should a little pat on the back anytime you can get profit, because in just a matter of crackle pop, the stock way. There's a first time for everything, in today's first. See ya over at the big screen.
We do know that NCL today, so let's take a look. Now, the revenue target Street was expecting $1 billion versus $2.33 billion. It did yes an overall, but it did miss in the occupancy had to 100%, and it company had back in the year. Now this driven in the company, the revenue also all thanks to increase in onboard spend. Let's take a look at that are causing this current. You know that are caused by the conflict, which is why their guidance, which is the reason being now. John Chidsey has said the company run rate around $100. There's a tree that we're going to take a look at. It started $25. Move in the November of stock was trading around 22 cents. Then 20 cash, it literally plummeted to $7.77. Ships had the no sale order. Royal Caribbean last. Travel industry took a big hit in May 2026 at around $18. To today, the stock is down 1.9%. That's all for you today. Sending it
here. I have to mention USO reporting news, which is an Iranian. Of course, they're reporting that Hanzal officers, now are also known as Handal. So basically, the hacking group has disclosure of 400 U.S. Navy by Iranian state media. So just nothing massive here. A little bit of a bounce here as traders digest information. Back to you.
Well, kind of got me out. It's good. Turn over and look at Joe. He's happy about it. A little bottoming tail for 45s. That topping right in front of that 45 zone. I'm gonna buy the dip. Waited for IBIT to turn into a long. He broke the downward trend.
Tell me 44. Ish. Oh my God. Ish. Yeah. This. But again, like I don't know, man. I just got on these levels. 50 area. We even long right there to grab that, but there it is. Long was like a no-brainer. Good job. Wow, man, did we hit that one? That was a definite opportunity missed. I'm glad that you got some of that, but yeah, on Google, AMD, we wrote down 3. There you go, right? And again, I know why I'm not. Like you don't have to take things right away. This 355 long, it's longer. Intel again. Longer willing to take something at like in a name that's scaler or a name that's been in the as these kind of plays underneath it. And we heard wake me up at 180, right? But I mean, move to the down. Definitely not worth sitting in front of 350. When that happens, the bottom, right? And so as I look back over here, bottom, like we said, ish area, 47s. That was a good trade, and why we should have that low right there. When it comes in, I could obviously getting into it, but it's was what Neil took. That's the kind of the thing. When then you get momentum underneath you, so that's why that IBIT 98. Buy some dips, not buy some dips. Cover. You come back in and cover there. We'll see if we can get another one at get it until you put a bid. So another bid at 12. So let's cancel that. We'll see if we get a lower. New story. Transited the Strait of Hormuz, but yet there was Korean ones on. So if it hasn't transited through the Strait of, still remains. I don't know how many millions of barrels is.
Oh, there's no number, and honestly, probably news agency.
Yeah,
no pretty thing to begin with.
Yeah. Okay, here we go, man. With earnings kicking up 5%, and questions about pick that up. And there it goes now. Val to join Eli. Need to go higher. You're looking for that into earnings. I've already the EPS to get that over that AI to a bull real quick. They may have to change it to bull AI, but I don't think that could be a lot of BS in Rainmaker. It doesn't seem. I think the Nasdaq would print there unless you pick the scalp near those lows. And
This is easily the smallest. It's 10:30. You know what? Right now, because I on the Nasdaq, little bit of a high, the holding. But you're not doing it. You have night range. I bit like we're gonna set for something. Other pullback again, or crazy move. Okay, I'm looking for a level I can find like a maybe 23 or 30 or 40, and then on BM&R that's starting because it was moving way down to 274. What's going on with GameStop? GameStop now down. It's been gliding low. I think that does continuation on eBay. Just never enough hype up, but as long as it holds, or maybe break 110 and crazy, then I can short. It didn't work this morning, and thank goodness we got away from that. Like it cent on Roblox. It's still not on Roblox. $50. It's not bad. It's after earnings, but in and break above 50. Decisive in the long bit. Another shorts. We have
do you know what Ghost Fleet's up?
matter. No, because I don't know. I don't know what the